Hi, this video is going out to all my fellow members of Gambler First Nation. My name is Donna and I am a very strong believer in transparency and accountability and the open book policy on First Nations. What I'm going to attempt to do is try and explain or let everyone be aware of the unjust dismissal suit that I had filed against Gambler First Nation, in particular Chief David LeDoux, because the other two councillors that are currently in power are not even aware of anything that has transpired since we got our firing letters back in May, a year ago to be exact. But what I want to do is, like, I'm going to have links to some of the documentation, and I just do not have the ability or the money that I would have to provide if I was to give you all copies of all of the information that I have. Because I was thinking of bringing this out at a meeting, but in order to do that, I would have to give you all copies. So this way, I just do one copy on the computer and anyone can access it. So back to the unjust dismissal suit. On May 9th of 2012, me and my two siblings, Peter and Doreen, each got a dismissal letter. It was totally out of the blue. I had no inkling or no idea what was going on, because David was in power probably about a month and a week from the time we got that dismissal letter. And one of the things I would like to point out was the reason that he states on that letter of why he dismissed the three of us. The one in particular has to do with my sister Doreen Mitchell. She was working in Winnipeg for Stats Canada, and because her employment was for different reserves within Manitoba, she was working on a reserve and she was living on a reserve, which was Gambler First Nation, with me and my brother Roger at Roger's house. But anyway, because in order for her to be excluded from paying taxes, she had to provide a letter from Gambler First Nation saying that she was living there on the reserve. And like, I've been working for Native organizations for the last 23 years, so I'm fully aware of what is legal and what is not. And because I know she is my sister, and I know she was living there at the house with us when she wasn't out of town working for a job, there was no misleading, no false information when that letter was done whatsoever. And if Chief David LeDoux and the elders that were discussing this and deciding on our futures with Gambler First Nation, they would have known the story behind this letter, but we were never even given the opportunity to explain it or to say why the letter was done up. And that, which also brings another concern that I would like to share. Doreen Mitchell had done an appeal letter when we had the by-election when David got in. But that appeal letter was not geared at Chief David LeDoux. The reason it was done was so that the members can follow these policies that were made into law for Gambler First Nation. Now, if we can't follow these laws with the first election that comes about, what is going to happen to Gambler? Why have laws when we cannot follow them? And that is precisely why she did that letter, and a copy of that is on the site as well. Like, the main reason was because the criminal record checks were not followed through and were not part of the by-election process. and it should have been. So in turn, this is why she had done that appeal letter in the first place. But the day we got that letter on May the 9th, our dismissal letters, which I did not read anyway until later. But I knew something was up because there was a lot of talk at the office. Oh, the Vermettes, they're going to get it. They've been doing this, they've been doing that. But I've learned from working there at the band office in a counselor position prior that there is a lot of stories that go around this reserve. And I take it to the point where I do not pay attention to any of these letters or any of these conversations or gossip, as you would call it. But anyway, that day we got these letters there, we had a band meeting at the band hall. And a lot of the members were there. And when we got that letter, I was in shock. Like, I didn't deserve this. None of us deserved this. So anyway, we went to the prior chief's house, because this is where we go when we want to talk about anything political. Because we know he is a very informative chief, and he knows the ins and outs of running a reserve. Anyway, I was at Gordon's house that day, and we were discussing the situation that happened at the band office. And Gordon was he was surprised as well. So what he did, he phoned the band office, and he got David on the phone, and he was on speakerphone. And Gordon asked him, "Why, David, why did you fire these 3 people?" And you know what David's reply was? Because Doreen had done that appeal letter. She started it. So right then and there, I know there was a different agenda of why we got fired. It was not because there was no money in the bank for any of our positions. And I know because I worked there for a full year. When I started there, they were $220,000 in the hole. And when I left there, they were probably about $180,000 in the hole. But that whole year that I was there, we never once went over the budget. And this, because of the work, and I know it wasn't because of the financial difficulties. He had a different agenda for firing us. I'm not sure, did I explain to you, I think, already about Doreen Mitchell. But anyway, we feel very strongly that we were unjustly dismissed. This is why we went to the labor board to have it dealt with. And it's been a long process. It probably happened within 6 to 7 months it has taken before we were finally heard by an adjudicator that was appointed by the Canada Labour Board. Anyway, when we went to this meeting with the adjudicator, he heard everybody's side of the story. And I was under the impression that we were just dealing with the letter of dismissal. And I tried to stick to that, even though I know there is a lot more to this firing than anybody is aware of. But I've also attached a copy of the award that was granted to me and Peter because we were considered full-time employees of Gambler First Nation. So I just want to put that on the website for all you members to read, because I know you're not going to read it within, say, half an hour. You're going to read it and you're going to think about it. And I know you probably will have questions. But my main concern in any of this was to help a member of Gambler First Nation. So be it. If we help them so they don't have to pay taxes, fine. God knows, the Creator knows that the natives have nothing, barely anything to survive on and to live on. We are here to help our members, not to dismiss them, not to take away their livelihood, their means of support for their families living on the reserve. Like, oh, I could say so much. We are here to help one another, not to fight one another, not to cut one down, not to dismiss them and take their livelihood away. Again, I have to repeat it, because it not only took my livelihood away, but it took my whole outlook on life. It made me depressed. Like I said, I've been working for how many, this has never ever happened to me with any Native organization. Like, I am an honest person. I always was and I always will be. And for him to try and defame my name and ability at working at that band office, it should not be allowed. This is why I took this suit to the labor board, so I could have some sort of justice. And all I wanted was my job back. I did not want no financial money whatsoever. But because the adjudicator felt he had to pay Peter for his wrongful dismissal, he gave me the same amount. He asked me if I wanted anything for pain and suffering with this suit. And that is explained in that award as well. I said no, because I don't want the members to suffer. I just want my job back. Because he had no reason firing me in the first place. And I still would like my job back. I still would like to see the First Nation have financial statements. Find out where we're at. And for this whole past year, I have yet to see one financial statement done. And prior to me getting fired, I was on the brink of providing those to you people. And I don't think any of you members are aware of the work that we have put into that band office. There is a lot I can say, but I do not want to drag it on and on. But look at the information that I have provided there. I will be taking a copy and I will be giving it to the other two council members. But I do not have, like I say, I don't have the money or the means to provide it to the rest of the members. So hopefully by doing this video, a lot of you will be aware of what transpired, because nobody knows what went on. Nobody knows the outcome. And I would like you all to be aware of this whole situation that the current chief has put Gambler First Nation under, which has cost the band in total an amount of up to $20,000. Now, is this the kind of chief you want? Someone who is just going to fly off the handle and do whatever they think they can do? Do we not have laws or policies in place to prevent this? I thought I'd take it and leave it and, sit back. But I can't anymore. We have got to put a stop to this. We have got to stop our bickering and our fighting and work together and get along. But I know this is getting dragged out. So if any of you have any questions, any concerns, I would gladly answer them. And the only way I see that any of you can do that is by giving me a call at home. And I will give you my phone number. And if you want any additional information, I will gladly provide it to you. Thank you for listening. And oh, sorry about that, but my number is 532-2560. Maybe by this being put on the Tribal Tales Facebook page, a lot of you will be aware of what is going on, because it has to stop, and we have to move forward, and we have to do it in a way where we're helping, assisting, and providing the necessary means to help our fellow members. Thank you for listening.